Yo, this is the Oracle Rocky coming to you with another transit breakdown, introspection, interpretation, whatever you want to call it. Going to go into depth about this ongoing Mercury retrograde. From a sidereal standpoint, because this was the sidereal astrology makeup. But if you follow tropical astrology, Mercury is, it's still retrograding in Libra. Okay. That's what I thought. Yeah, it's still retrograding in Libra. So that's interesting. Moving on to what I was originally going to say. This Mercury retrograde will be focusing on how we maintain the equilibrium internally and externally. And that's it's a tricky question because if you read the last Patreon post or if you've just been keeping track yourself, there's a lot of things that we didn't know were accounted for when it came to the scales of balance, to the scales of harmony, to the scales of equality or equilibrium, reciprocation, the whole nine, okay? It was just a number of things that we thought we could just place. Wow. I just had to realize my own personal scale of patience. There we go. Which is a very sensitive scale, if I do say so myself. We were coming to realize just how much we had just placed on the scale to try to make things equal, to try to make things work, to try to elude the image of things being on opposite poles, but being of equal value, equal frequency, a mirroring effect. If we were truly implementing the causes of the causes and the effects of ebb and flow, the outcome that came with the income or incoming. A lot was placed upon these Libra scales, or I'll say, because we're speaking in terms of where Mercury is retrograding and just what it's retrograding in, what is it bringing into this cycle of its retrograde phase. And if we're speaking from the perspective of bringing Virgo things into the energy of Libra, there was a lot to be a bit more mindful of when it came to just exactly what we were placing on these Libra scales, exactly what were we measuring, why were we measuring it, what type of worth were we determining to get upon the results that we got from weighing this in on the scale, right? Were we expecting a particular payback or a particular outcome? Was there a fixation on a particular outcome that actually made the scales imbalanced, which is why this Mercury retrograde is helping you to shift your vision to see why it played out the way that it did, why certain things that you thought were of density were actually lighter than you expected. And vice versa, certain things that you thought were going to be light as a feather had some weight to it, you know. It's all about exactly what we were integrating from the month of August, the lessons that we were learning from that Cancerian Leo solar phase and the lunar phases that it came with, implementing that cycle or equilibrium of flow that comes with the number 8. It really was a test to see if we were going to go into the deep recesses of our minds to try to figure out what exactly did we think was intangible or hidden or something that was out of reach that has always actually been in our vicinity, that's always been in our face. Take that how it resonates, because it could literally apply to anything. If you notice that my voice is deep at the moment, very serious mode, very tuned in mode. The tone of my voice is matching that. So I have to dig a little bit deeper, a little bit lower to get certain information out as I normally would. So rock with it, pun intended. There was something I was going to get at. Intangibility into the tangible. How much did we think was out of our reach that is actually within our reach, and vice versa? How much is actually within our reach that is actually out of our reach, is out of our vicinity, is out of our purview? And it's so crazy because, like, within this particular axis of Virgo Pisces, there's this almost like, y'all remember what it felt like, particularly in high school, what it felt like to consistently set that alarm, if you had an alarm set, to consistently set that alarm, to know what was coming when that time came for the alarm to go off. And then when that alarm went off, you just hit snooze repetitively. In this particular instance, we were not allowed to press snooze anymore. The first time we were able to press snooze was around the 8-8 portal, or around the time that there was a Leo Aquarius full moon. There we go. Or Aquarius full moon. I'll say that. And I say that because within the Leo Aquarius axis, it's understanding how much of an individual we are within the collective, while simultaneously understanding that though we are one of many, we are many of the all. That made sense, and I know it did. And I'm gonna say it again. Although we are one of many, we are the many within the all. Or shit, the nothing within the all. I mean, take it how it resonates for you. But as far as the Leo Aquarius axis, it's talking about how you shine your individual light, which is represented by Leo, or that solar energy, within a collective of people, regardless of how much time has passed, how many foundations you have built with other people, with other environments, with other experiences, is understanding how you stand out, or what part you play within all of that. If you played any role at all, Side note and free game. Role playing is something that is highly resonant for Leo energy. So keep that in mind. Moving on. So when it came to wanting to press the snooze button with sleeping on yourself or sleeping on the type of impact that you bring within the collective, there was no snooze button. Okay, there was no snooze button. That Sun Neptune opposition literally screamed, "Wake the fuck up." Okay, with Neptune being at home in tropical astrology and Pisces, Neptune being at home in its sign, its ruling sign, it is in its natural habitat of feeling the most expressive, feeling the most imaginative, the most creative, the most daydreamy, the most, I can't even think of the word of what Neptune feels like at home in Pisces. Think about like when it's been raining for a really long time. Oh my God, would you please wake the fuck up? Oh, that the way that just played out, that was hilarious. I'm gonna have to replay that again just to hear how that ran on. That was funny. I can't even remember what I was saying. I was so just what the fuck. Snooze button. Damn, I lost my train of thought. Oh, Neptune, Pisces, yes. So it's in its natural mode of expression. It's able to be its full self. But while it's in retrograde, it's asking itself just how much of itself it's truly been. With Neptune having so many realms, and an example I like to refer to the most is like those fun house mirrors or crazy house mirrors that are at a circus. How like there are many reflections that show you a different aspect of what that mirror, that particular mirror shows to you, but then there's like this truth, this reality. I don't want to say reality because what reality? If you listen to Jet Age of Tomorrow, you're tight. But anyway, is coming to understand the wholeness and the, I don't even want to say density of who you are. I guess to say just the realness, the authenticity, the weight that you hold. It was coming to understand that mirrors were mirrors and just that. Nothing more than just another resource or another tool to help you see yourself in a fuller light if you were able to see yourself at all. Remember, vampires don't have reflections. Okay. That's gonna help somebody. Neptune being in Pisces was, or Neptune being retrograde in Pisces is asking us pretty much just to review the quality of our imaginations, our alternate reality that we turn to when the physical one just isn't doing what the fuck it needs to do. It's not giving what the fuck it needs to give. So we go to Neptune. We go to tune the shit out. We go to different realms with different sounds and different visions and different experiences. We try to take those intangible things that we feel and that we see and we try to make them real. But how successful has that been? And that's truly an answer that you can best answer for yourself, or you can best gauge for yourself, because there is no right or wrong answer. And there is a multitude of things you can apply that question to outside of, the things that didn't work. Like, say you had just an idea of running a business, and it's like, okay, you just knew that you wanted to run a business. You didn't know what type of business you wanted to run. You just know that you wanted to run a business, so you wanted to own a business. Now, 2 to 3 years later, you have your own business. So how has that been working for you? What other details are you finding that you need to get to when it comes to being a business owner? Using that Virgo logic and analyzation, and keeping things in a structured like manner, in a grounded like manner, in order to keep things aligned to the intangible in order to make it tangible. Okay. I don't know, there's a big energy of overindulgence though, and the somewhat maze of getting back to the destination that is needed to be journeyed. But there's just like this gate that has to be opened, and it has to be something that is self-imposed. It is something that must be done from self for self, because there are going to be a multitude of people that are these funhouse mirrors for you, showing you different aspects of yourself that you weren't able to see, and getting to, the nitty gritty of it, whatever that is for you. But when it comes to overindulgence, maybe there's been an overindulgence of getting drunk off broken promises or empty promises, screaming at myself. There could have been an overindulgence of absorbing the trauma that you have been through for years and years on end, and implementing that into your day-to-day habits. Screaming at myself. This full moon axis on Pisces, or this full moon on the Pisces Virgo axis. I have to say, and this could be a personal thing, this could be a relatable thing, I don't know, before I jump into it, because I feel like I've been rapping on here for a good amount of time. But I've noticed that when it comes to Cancer, Capricorn, Virgo, Pisces, Taurus, Scorpio axis, why the fuck is it so intense? I know why it's so intense, but why is it so intense? Especially Capricorn, Cancer. You know what? I'll answer my own question here, because I'm pretty sure there's other people that's wondering that too. So Cancer, Capricorn deals with the sensitivity of the upstanding or the upholding foundation that already exists or has yet to exist, because its cardinal signs is speaking about things that can initiate into something new, that can transform into something different, that can transform into something that is a completely different mode, and can set off completely different modes than what it has, before. Taurus, Scorpio axis deals with the fixation of things. Funny enough, they are both fixed signs, but they deal with the attachment to the attachment. If you have an attachment to money, it deals with that attachment to money. Why do you have an attachment to money? And that attachment can stem from a lack of attachment from something else, such as the nurture that is needed to have the emotional support to feel as secure as you would with and or without money. Message. Moving on to the Pisces Virgo axis, it helps us, or it deals with the ending of things. It could be the end of our wellness, the end of our sanity, the end of certain routines that have just fallen off due to just things just not in a way that it's blown up, but in a way that you just didn't have control over the outcome. Also dealing with what can go awry if one is not fully grounded or equalizing that flowy energy with some type of groundedness so that it doesn't go off too far and with its mutable mode change into something else that it is, or not even that it's not meant to change into, because mutable signs can change into anything, but it would just prolong the process of what the cardinal signs that follow mutable signs would need to do. So cardinal signs wouldn't be able to initiate anything if the mutable signs didn't end it, and vice versa. There wouldn't really be any new beginnings for cardinal signs if mutable signs didn't, wait, I mixed those up. There wouldn't be anything for the mutable signs to initiate something with if cardinal signs were to take the aspects of the fixed signs and not change shit. So there's an aspect of change that's needed from both cardinal and mutable signs, or just, I hope that made sense, because now it's starting to feel really Piscean, because there's like 3 different avenues I could take with that one sentence alone, but I have to use my Mercury / Virgo / Earth grounding thing and stick to a main focal point. Yeah. So with this Mercury retrograde being in a cardinal sign, feel like this is a time to review any new beginnings that you have initiated or that have initiated with you that stem to relationships, business relationships, interactions, intimate relationships, things that deal with legalities, things that deal with justice, things that deal with being diplomatic, if applicable, being fair. Oh, God. Being fair, being fair, being fair, being fair. Wow. Things that deal with the actuality or the reality that comes from particular impulses. Being your own judge and juror when it comes to making important decisions where you may have to do certain things alone. You can't use your, otherwise 7th house Libran Venusian energy to be as social or to be as outgoing. You may have to take a little bit of time for solitude, which is, somewhat of a message for sidereal Mercury, as it will be transiting back into Virgo during its retrograde. Taking time to realize what noises actually distort your frequency or distort the way that you hear your own soul music, the way that you hear the beat to your own drum. There is a need to filter out anything that would otherwise disrupt the status quo of your sanity, of your wellness. Also, with this particular setup, now that I'm looking at the actual chart, and I also have it pulled up right here, so you'll see me looking down a lot. But if you see here, Mercury, this asteroid, Vesta, and Venus are all in the 12th house. So um, there's a lot of revelations when it comes to the types of messages we receive about the things that we have interacted with, be it people, in person, via the internet, over the phone, through email, through letter, etc., etc. Um, a lot of revelation when it comes to these types of interactions. Maybe there was something that popped up around last October that could be making more sense to you now. Um, Something within like the beginning of tropical Virgo season. Um, if you are a Virgo, looking at what happened before your birthday and taking a look at how you feel now that you're in a new age, a new frequency, a new energy. Um, mm, 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 mm. With this particular placement being in the 12th house, you are bound to see the fall of certain relationships. You are bound to see the decrease of certain interactions. You are bound to see certain communications switch up. And this could also be due with Uranus being in its opposite house. Um, there's a lot of changes that are being energetically carried out. Yeah, energetically carried out. Because again, with Uranus being one of the slower moving planets, and from the sidereal aspect of Aries, um, Uranus is essentially showing us the changes that come with impulsivity and how quick things can change. How quick things can change when it comes to the way that we act, the way that we speak, the way that we think, the way that we only use our heads to be rational, to be logical, to be fair. There are more things that go into logistics, or, you know, coming up to, or coming up, or coming to, oh, what the fuck? Coming to a concrete, balanced, concise decision when it comes to executing a action or a plan or a goal. Um, Understanding how we can be a bit one-sided in how we have or can be blinded to another side or another aspect, and just moving from that one-track mind can implement the shift of missing certain opportunities, or just being on a completely different plateau of what could have played out. Okay. Um, we have this trine in, or had, since this is 3 days ago, but this is the day that Mercury went into retrograde. We have this really significant trining energy with the moon, Mercury, and Jupiter. And these particular placements are in earth signs. So there is an expansion that's going on when it comes to the groundedness of our intuition and our thoughts, or our intuition and the ways that we communicate. There's an expansion of the types of foundations that we have been building off of in a way that affects and plays into the types of relationships that we engage in and how they reflect a certain part of our values and morals, whether we are aware of it or not. That or not aspect, that's going to be the ass kicker, because I just feel like if and when you come to this aha moment, and I've had my plenty even before this shift, but when you come to this aha moment and you really, and I mean really, start to see what you weren't aware of before, and you're open to it and accepting of it, you begin to see so much more that you thought you knew about. You don't know shit. You begin to understand you just began to know what the fuck you thought you knew. Or you were just beginning to know what you thought you knew, or what you thought you were going to know up until this point. It's mind blowing. It is groundbreaking. It is soul shaking. It is okay. It is. It is. It is. That's all I can say. It is. So there could be some aspects of, you know, a particular belief that you had when you were quote unquote young-minded. Huh. Ooh, I've been talking about this to myself for months, like, especially if you're going through your Saturn return. Listen, for my people going through their Saturn returns right now, I wish there was an easy way that I can say this, but I will say this. You are more than likely right now having an extension, if you will, of the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that happened December 21st, 2020. You have an extended 3-year version of Jupiter and Saturn's conjunction. And it's very, very lit. But again, you're beginning to understand just what is placed upon the scales of balance. The things that you've put up there consciously, the things that you put up there unconsciously, the things that you have, or your own subconscious has put up there. And I would consider that as unknowing, but if it's your subconscious, which is a subcategory of your conscious, there was some type of consciousness there. So it's not like you were fully in the unknown, but it wasn't like you were fully in the know either, if that made any sense at all. I'm sorry, when I say some of this stuff out loud and then I just reflect on what the fuck has been going on in my life. Oh, trust me, I cried before, so I'm able to laugh now. Now the shit is funny. I'm pretty sure I have more tears to cry. I'm just enjoying the laughs right now. Yeah, so back to what I was saying about people going through their Saturn returns right now. You are more than likely, if not now, once Jupiter comes out of retrograde phase, you have an extended version, or you have extra tutorial classes or extra homework, extra credit, and advanced class placement with Jupiter and Saturn's conjunction. And I'm telling you, if you stay sharp, if you remain accountable, it's lit. It is. Very. It does not come as much as people are like, oh, Jupiter is such a benefic planet, such a benevolent planet, and expansion and abundance and woo woo woo. Y'all forget that too much of something can and will kill you, which is why you have Saturn right there being like, boundaries, my guy. Boundaries. This is why we have them. Okay. Like it's one thing to be that rebel and be like, yeah, fuck rules, fuck this, fuck that. But then if you really, really thought about it, if you really considered what it would be like to be in a lawless world, in a lawless universe, it'd be so much chaos, and so many of these chaotic people would be like, yeah, chaos, let's go. But you couldn't use laws that you are holding on to. You couldn't even create, because creating is some type of law. In order to create, there has to be what? In order to create, it has to be its polar opposite. What's the opposite of creation? You can answer that. You can think about it. Wouldn't fucking exist. A lot of things wouldn't exist. The scales of balance wouldn't exist. There would be no such thing as weight. It wouldn't even be the thing to account for. Anything that would be like adamant about not having something to account for would forget that it couldn't also account for itself. You have nothing to count for. It's just stupid. People. I'm sorry. That was a personal for me. It not the message about the nothing and the chaos and no shit like that. The cackling and the count for nothing. I'm sorry, that is definitely going in the book of records. I knee slapper. Yeah. Is there anything else that I want to say about this particular Mercury retrograde? Oh yeah. This one right here, Mercury squaring Pluto, the two planes of the psyche and the mind. With these particular placements, though, it's refining because both Pluto and Mercury are retrograde and they're squaring each other at this point. So there is a refining of the initiation of new thoughts, a new reality that comes from new thoughts, a new way of vibrating that comes from new thoughts. Is reviewing the quality and even the quantity, because what's that? What is that saying about repetition? God dang it. Damn, I forgot the quote about repetition. All of it to say repetition helps to build that muscle in order for you to just automatically know what to do in whatever moment you need to do it. So with Pluto, excuse me, being at that tail end of Sagittarius and Mercury being at that tail end beginning stage of Virgo/Libra, it's understanding why you have the psychology that you do. In this, it's very intricate. I mean, very, very, very intricate, down to why you like the type of people that you like. A lot of people say that they like weirdos because they like to talk about weirdo shit with other people that get it and blah, blah, blah. But let's really talk about the reason why you like weirdos is because there was a lack of love for weirdos when you were growing up. And those that also had that lack of love banded together, made their own frequency of love, and transferred that shit outward into the external world to gather more weirdos that went through the same shit. And you know what they did? They created more fucking circles of weirdos who love weirdos that haven't been fucking loved. And you know what they did? They banded together and they made more magical weirdo shit because that's what the fuck they do. But all that stemmed from the realization that the weirdos weren't the loved ones. They weren't the popular ones. They weren't the ones that were cared for. Motherfuckers could get shot in the street right now and be like, damn, shouldn't have been a nerd, bitch. Like, let's talk about it. The reason why you say you like fit women or fit men now is because you were the chubby kid that got picked on, and you saw how motherfuckers wasn't looking at the chunky kid. They were looking at the one with the big tits, the big ass, or the ones with the pecs, the ones that could get the bitches. I was going to go off into a whole spiel about not being treated as a dog, but treating women like bitches, but expecting the bitches to be loyal to it. That's slavery. Okay, let's just keep it a buck. It's slavery. It is a program of slavery, and y'all need to wake the fuck up. Because the bitch is gonna be with other bitches sooner or later. I'm just saying that. Yeah. Also, why do you, let's talk about that too. Let's talk about the root of bitches. Like, I'll even expose my mother. I'll expose myself. I was gonna cuss and say motherfucker self, but I'm trying to ease how much I say MF. Not so much bitch or fuck though. Anyway, moving on. One of the reasons why bitch is my favorite cuss word, I've been called it by my own parent. I've been called it by people that didn't know who the fuck I was. I've been called it by people that did know who the fuck I was. And then I have been taught to call other people that. So with that being said, a lot of it comes from the alchemizing that I've had to do from having that be an adjective that was projected onto me, as well as understanding my power to flip shit to the point where I can make it a term of endearment for me and still know who the fuck I am. Much like how Black people have changed the frequency of the word nigga, something that was supposed to be used as a tool of degradation, but is now turned into an endearment of love. And when people who can't do that try to do that and then get mad when they get called out because they're not niggas, they get upset. Do you know why? Because they're not allowed to access that level of frequency level. They're not able to access, or they're not allowed to access that level of love, because nobody knows what the fuck it took to alchemize that energy. Nobody knows what it took to take that word from the fucking mud, to rinse it clean, completely clean, free of dirt, debris, whatever, and to come out a sparkling version of love. Fuck out of here, bro. Yeah, so I've done that with the word bitch. So whenever people call me a bitch, or whenever, people like bitch, I don't take offense, because if you know me, you know how much of a bitch I can be. If you don't know me, you've yet to know how much of a bitch I can be, and you would still be fucking right. Alchemy is something else. And some people be like, don't call me a bitch because that's a low vibrational word. And I get it. Just because you tell people not to do it, guess what? That don't mean that they're not going to do it. So you got to take those resources And you just got to do with them what you can. So what are you going to do in the event somebody calls you a bitch? You going to get mad? You can. You have the right to. But nobody but you and the people that truly know you and the creator that made you know how much of a bitch you can be. So unless they want to summon that, they can have that option. But it's up to you to know who the fuck you are and to be like, okay, this person obviously does or does not know me. What do I want to do with this information? Okay. You could choose to internalize it and alchemize it and make it to something beautiful, which is going to take work because that shit isn't easy. Or you could let this shit just glide you by because it's something that never resonated with you in the first place. The same is going to be asked of you to apply that same modality, that same method during this Mercury retrograde. Ouch. Okay, some of y'all may come to the realization that y'all like being called these are people that like being called a bitch. Like, that was the only term of endearment that you grew up with where men showed just how serious they were with their feelings. It's going to get deep. It's more than just, oh, this was just something my mom and dad did, or this was just something I saw on TV. No, those are no more liable excuses. Like, even if you were to see a certain thing on TV and replicate it into your day-to-day life, there was something that resonated with you as to why you would want to implement that in your day-to-day. So what is a huge thing, again, with Uranus being in a house of relationships, is like these changes of relationships and, oh, we want to get away from people that's bad for us, no more toxic energy, Okay, but what's resonating in you that's attracting these people? For me, it was I won't even say it was the lack of awareness, but it was the lack of credit that I gave myself. You know what happens when you lack credit in this particular matrix? You can't apply for shit, supposedly. You can't apply for shit. You need somebody to help you co-sign for other shit. You need something else to help you receive credit or receive credit for having credit when you're applying to certain things, when you're trying to build certain things, when you're trying to embark on new journeys. In this matrix, having no credit, or in that, and again, this is strictly in that it's just, you have to find a different modality to adjust with living here. You can't go about it the same way that other people have gone about it because they have some type of credit. What type of credit they have, none of your business. You focus on your credit because that's what you're here to focus on. So how are you going to build your credit? How are you going to build your credibility? I was going to go somewhere else with that, but I forgot. Yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. But this Mercury retrograde, in addition to all the other planets that have been retrograde, it's just really intense at this time. There's a lot of shifts. There's a lot of changes, some that we understand innately, some we don't understand at all. But it's all seemingly parts of the plan. Sorry, I had to sit with that for a minute. I also want to talk about the darker aspects of these planets, but I think I may save that for another video because that's going to be a whole other hour topic conversation and boundaries. So I'm going to end this video here. Hopefully it made sense. If it didn't, chalk it to the game, man. I don't know no more. At this point, this is just to help people bridge the gap of confusion together so that they may continue to journey on their road to enlightenment and growth and understanding. Because a lot of shit just don't make sense, especially energetically, because a lot of us aren't really taught energetic or emotional intelligence, and it's something I have to be very patient with myself and others about, but I digress. I said all of that through my teeth. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that are being played out right now, and the only way to describe it is to think about a soda bottle that has been shaken up. And I mean shaken up. All these different variables add to the shakeup of the soda bottle. So like if you were carrying it in your purse, the way that you would carry your purse was shaking the bottle. The way that you placed your purse down in the chair or on the table helped shake the bottle. When you grabbed the bottle out the bottom of the bag, it aided in shaking up the bottle. And then when you finally reached your hand to twist the cap off, the soda just fucking explodes everywhere. And you're like, what the actual fuck? It was because you didn't account for the amount of times the soda bottle was already shaken prior to you putting your hands on it. Oh, that's a message for somebody. Good God. Just be mindful that soda does have a certain amount of oh god dang it, don't tell me I forgot what makes it have the fizz. Bicarbonate. Damn it, I will not be played. There's already so many scientific and mathematical aspects that I have to journey back to remember from what I learned in like elementary and middle school. It is just being a Gemini moon kind of hurts. I ain't gonna lie to you, it hurts, but it's one of the most beautiful things to be because motherfuckers actually think. I would like to believe so anyway. Not all Gemini moons, but I would like to believe a good majority of Gemini moons think. To the point where it fucking hurts us, but we think. Oh, that's another thing with this Virgo Pisces aspect, being prone to overthinking and headaches. Probably should have noted that at the beginning of the video. But anyway, I was going to say something to wrap this video up. Soda bottles. Yeah, be mindful that all soda has a bicarbonate aspect to it. So it's, especially if it's unopened. So this could be like the repressed things that you had from people. When it's unopened for that long with all that fucking shaking, it's bound to explode in some type of way. Now, if this was, excuse me, oh my God, if this was one of those like half full bottles that still has the ability to like fill up after you shake it, just look at that as some of the lingering aspects that, can still be triggered if they're shaken a certain type of way. And this can also relate to Uranus and its transit and how it's affecting everybody. It's affecting everybody in a way that everyone's individual sodas are being shaken. And once they reach for the top to enjoy what would be a lovely first gulp of fizzy goodness, it ain't shit but a big ass sugary explosion. I'm gonna take that as a sign. Because I was gonna say welcome, but that cough was like, no. Yeah, welcome. Everybody's soda is being shaken. Mercury is aiding you to see what you can do differently as you're traveling with this soda bottle. Could you perhaps open it before you journey off somewhere? AKA, would you be vulnerable to expressing some of these things that bother you before you transfer this energy into other relationships? Oh God. Could you handle the shakeups of anxiety before you go towards a goal with full confidence? Could you shake yourself of a good majority of the anxiety you have before you count yourself out of the game before you even try? I swear to God. It may seem easy to interpret these things, but to implement them and to act them out and to consistently keep this shit up, it is not easy, but it is not impossible. You gotta want it, you gotta try. I can't give you a clear answer on that one. For those that ask, well, how do you do that? I don't know. But is there anything else that I want to say? I keep saying that, and I've said for like the past 7 minutes that I was gonna wrap this up. So I'm gonna honor that. I think that's all I have to say. And if I have anything else to say, I'm pretty sure I'll put it in my stories or something. I did definitely say I wanted to do a individual sign reading because I tried to do one last week and it only got to like half the signs. And I'm not recording that over. The energy is probably just long gone from them. But if I feel guided to post that one, I will. I think I only did like 7 of them. But I'll try to do a astrological Mercury retrograde reading because the way this will be affecting different signs will hit different, or the way that it's being communicated through different signs will be different for everybody. So it'll be interesting to look into. Also, for those who are still supporting, thank you. It has been a crazy ass ride, y'all. It's been a crazy ass ride, but the wheels still turn, the engine still works. It is filled with gas. It is running properly. It's fine. And there is a qualified driver. So we're good, okay? I'm gonna wrap this up because now I'm getting sleepy and I don't want to sleep babble. Hopefully this uploads.